how we do it. Good afternoon everyone, my name is Grayson, I run Westcreek Labradors. If anyone can confirm in the chat room that they can currently see my screen, that would be absolutely marvellous. Okay, I'm just checking it on my phone now. It looks like you can. That's absolutely marvellous. So any questions that you have, please feel free to put into the chat box. I will be able to see them, obviously from my phone, as today I am sharing directly from my screen. Brilliant, that's absolutely fine. So what I would like to talk about today is raising puppies, which sounds relatively easy, but surprisingly is not. Hello Ruby, it's nice to see you. Hello Blaze, it's nice to see you. So one of the biggest questions I get asked is, how do you raise your puppies? And this is what this PowerPoint is going to show you. It is not easy, it is not. And there are a lot of things that owners tend to forget or don't even think about, such as introductions to the environment. So that is what we are going to be going through today. So we are going to start with the equipment that you need. This PowerPoint will be available after the session. It will be available on our website. So for your equipment, basic collars are best. You don't want to go and spend massive amounts on a very expensive collar that a puppy's going to chew or get incredibly mucky or even outgrow within the first 6 months. It's best just to get yourself a nice basic nylon collar that you can attach a tag to, you can clip your lead to, and that will keep the dog safe and secure. Now, I usually take my puppies in at 8 weeks to Pets at Home. I usually carry them in and carry them on my arms, obviously, because they don't have their vaccinations. Pick out a toy, pick out a collar, and then you're good to go. Puppies grow incredibly quickly. Over 10 days, you can see a massive amount of difference in how they have grown. That's why I say that basic collars are your best choice. Puppies are mucking. You can have the cleanest garden in the world and I guarantee you they will still come back in with mud on them, which isn't great if you have a collar that you are hoping to keep clean. Long lines are your best friends. When I bring an 8-week-old puppy home, they are tethered to me. Hello Karen! Long lines, when I bring a puppy home, obviously a long line attaches the puppy to me, so they are consistently with me. This helps me to toilet train them. It also helps me to ensure their safety, so they're not running off and chewing on things such as wires or TVs or remote controls. When the puppy is not tethered to me, we will use something called an X-pen. An X-pen is worth its weight in gold. X-pens are essentially mobile pens that you can set up for your dog that include a doorway, that are complete safe spaces. They can be put into a variety of shapes, they can be used to kind of corner off rooms. It's somewhere where your dog can be safe and secure. And finally, crate training. Crate training seems to have quite a large following that use it for the wrong ways, such as punishment. Crates should not be used as punishment. Crates are there for your dog to feel secure. So that is the basics of what you will need to get started with your 8-week-old. So a basic 8-week-old, a basic nylon collar. Remember that puppies do grow fast. They do get muddy. Your nice basic long line, you can pick these up from Pets at Home. They are super lightweight. They do make fabulous climbing frames. So yeah, pets at home, your nice basic collar, your long lines. X-Pens, they are slightly more expensive, but they are absolutely worth their use for saving your furniture. And then obviously a nice crate. Now remember with crates that the puppy should be able to stand up and turn around, but should not necessarily be able to walk around. Crates are there to help with toilet training and along with feeling safe, and that can be quite an enclosed space for a dog. Okay, so moving on from the basics of what you'll need to your home setup. This is going back towards the X-Pen again. Your puppy will need a safe space. So with an X-Pen, you know what's in that enclosure, you know if they've got food, you know if they've got water, you know exactly what toys they have, and it's something that you can put your dog into when you're not watching them and you know that they are 100% safe. If you find that your puppy is able to escape your X-Pen, you need to find out why. You need to find out what they are trying to achieve by getting out of there. Is there something that they're seeing? Or is it something that they want to get to? Is it the fact that maybe they are too heavy for the X-Pen so they're able to push it over? Hopefully not. A lot of puppies don't have that strength, but some of them might. But your home setup is a way to prevent failure for your pup. So if they misbehave when they get overexcitable or tired, it's really easy to just pick up your pup, put them in the X-Pen. That's where they go to relax, lie down and de-stress. Teach your boundaries young. I cannot tell you how many puppies that I go to that have situations in which the puppy has been given too much too young.
Oh, okay, and what's the first line of the address?
The problem with that is that puppies need to be able to slowly develop their run of the home.
And your name.
Now, one thing I have noticed is, I do this with all my puppies, is nesting. Now, if you have ever seen puppies when they are together, they will have a habit of piling in together and they will have a habit of hugging to each other. I call them puppy piles and they're absolutely adorable. But this absolutely helps them bond with litter mates. That is why it can be so distressing when you take an 8-week-old puppy home and then all of a sudden they're completely on their own for the first night. Nesting is the act of putting in blankets, particularly if you have one from mum or the litter mates, and finding plushies or toys that are a similar size and weight to the puppy and placing them in the crate in a specific zone. Varley was nested when he was a puppy and I never had an issue with screaming or yelling or any kind of stress within the crate. He would go in, he would go into his nest, he would go to what he would deem as his litter mates and lie down with them and go to sleep. So nesting will help the puppy feel safe. It doesn't immediately take them away from that litter mate system and suddenly and abruptly drop them into being on their own.
Yes, yeah, so probably the size of the property.
Your home setup needs to expose your puppy safely. Now, some owners will allow their puppy free run of the house and then they will end up with situations in which really hard to listen to me. What is the matter? Is it background noise?
So, yep, that's all been booked in for Monday, 22nd of March.
Is it because there's someone speaking in the background? Sorry, I will wait.
Thank you.
I apologise about that. Okay, we should be okay now. Is it easier to hear me now? Brilliant. What did I get to before you found it a bit too difficult to listen to? Yes, I know, I'm sorry. There's not really much I can do about it. Did I get up to nesting before you were unable to hear me? Was it the nesting and the exposing of the puppy, the crates? Okay. So, crating your puppy is beneficial, particularly among those of us that nest. So, straight from the X-Pen. That is absolutely fine. So, X-Pens and crating your puppy are the best way to safely expose your puppy to the environment. A lot of owners I have found will give their puppy free run of the home and expose them to loud noises without any kind of build-up or without any kind of reinforcement for not responding to the stimuli. So you may find that it's a lot easier to traumatise a puppy by allowing them free roam of the house and then turning on the vacuum that's next to them, or something like that, as opposed to putting them in their crate where they're safe so they can watch the vacuum at a distance. Does that make sense to everybody? The X-Pen and the crates act as a safe zone that stops traumatic events from being taken on as quite so fearfully. Teach your boundaries young. If you don't want your dog doing something when they're young, when they're older, don't allow them to do them as a older dog, as a puppy. Sorry, that's knocked me out of stride. So don't allow your puppy to do things that you wouldn't allow your older dog to do. If you don't want your dog, say, to go in the kitchen, exactly, a buffer space. If you don't want your dog to enter the kitchen, then don't allow your puppy in the kitchen. You set your boundaries young. And you do this by simply using place. Now we will work up to places slowly through the video. Nesting, I've already gone over nesting, but is in case that is not audible, that wasn't audible. Nesting is the act of using pillows and teddy bears that are a similar size to the puppy in order to mimic a nesting space. So the puppy is not immediately taken away from a litter mate situation and then placed with absolutely nothing. Because imagine growing up sleeping with siblings or with a bunch of teddies, and then one day your parent says, no, you can't have those anymore, you have to have an empty bed, and you're not going to sleep very well. And that may be the case with pups, because they go from having something there to something not being there that they are used to. Because remember, these puppies have slept together since they were 1 day old, and now suddenly they're not there anymore. And puppies don't understand why. Setting up for success. Westcreek likes to use the term scale balancing. So for example, think of a set of old weighing scales. On the one hand you have a cue that says no, and on the other hand you have a cue that says yes. No is heavier than the yeses. So try your best to keep those scales balanced. If you find yourself chastising or correcting your puppy more than rewarding them, you need to stop and consider if what you are doing is assuming the puppy already knows what you want them to do, or if you need to teach them. Keep your scales balanced. That is the best way you will have a nice, well-trained, all-rounded dog. So as I've said before, puppies are not malicious. Puppies are just untrained. Puppies will not go and chew on your sofa, and they will not go and chew on your TV wires just because they want to get on your nerves. They're doing it because they don't know what else to do. They haven't been taught not to. Yeah, exactly. So keep your scales balanced. And remember that it takes time to settle into a new home. This is exactly why I advise teaching nesting behaviours for the crate. So these puppies grow up with their mom and with their litter-mates from day one. And then at 8 weeks old, suddenly they're pulled away from that. They are often travelling for up to several hours to a few days at a time, depending on where the puppy comes from. That is a new and traumatic experience, to then being taken into a home that does not smell like them, that has no litter mates, no mum, nothing that they know, and they're expected to behave immediately. When I picked Varley up, Varley travelled with me for 6 hours home. And that was as far as I was willing to take him, because we came on public transport. Now that was traumatising. He was a young pup, he was 8 weeks old, he had 6 hours in a car and on a train, and you can imagine that was something that he had never seen before. Even the most well-rounded puppies can find it difficult to settle into a home if they're not given the correct chances. So nesting, X-pens, exposing young is good, but allow your puppy time to settle. You can start training the day after you bring your puppy home, and you can start putting your boundaries in, but remember, with a puppy it's best to start with play and with bonding, and to remember that any behaviour is not malicious. They're not doing it to get on your nerves. They're doing it because you haven't taught them any different yet. Start as you mean to go on. So that goes straight back to what I said with it takes time to settle in and to put your boundaries into place. A lot of people will allow their puppy to jump up when they're young because, oh my god, it's so cute, it's a puppy, it's jumping up. That's perfectly fine when the puppy is 2 or 3 kilos. Once your puppy turns into a 30-kilo dog and it's still jumping up, there is a problem. I do not allow my puppies to jump. One, that can be dangerous for their bodies, depending on how continually they do that. Two, there is a... Oh, I apologise. Right, what was I saying? Okay, yeah. I do not allow my puppies to jump up purely for the fact that it may hurt their bodies as they grow, and that as soon as they get to a significant size, then as soon as they get to a significant size, then there may be an issue with their training. And you will always have people that are afraid of dogs, even puppies. Yes, thank you very much. So start as you mean to go on. If you won't let an adult dog jump, don't let your puppy jump. If you wouldn't let an adult dog pull you, don't let a puppy pull you. However, we are going to be talking about healing further on. Hand feeding, where possible, can help prevent resource guarding. If you take your puppy home and you find that maybe they eat their food a little too quickly, or if you go near them they growl, or they don't look happy with you being there, their tail may tuck, their body may stiffen, their eyes may wail, and their ears may go back, the best thing you can do is hand feed your puppy. So puppies usually need feeding 3 times a day, quite small meals. So what you need to do is just take that food, put it in your pocket, and then slowly feed the pup. This will help teach them that you are not going to take this food away, you are going to give that to them. They do not have to worry about you removing something from them that they instinctively need. Because let's not forget that food is one of the instinctive needs for an animal. Reactivity and resource guarding can generally, but not always, be prevented by preventative training. Be a safe zone for your puppy. Your puppy is in a new environment and needs to be able to go somewhere or to someone who makes them feel safe. Now that may be their crate and it may be their X-Pen, but you also want that to be you. If something goes wrong outside and your puppy does not have the option of going to a crate or an X-Pen, you want their next available option to be to come to you. Do this by essentially putting yourself in the puppy situation. You need to think like they think. If you look at something and think, well, actually, that doesn't look suitable, move your puppy away. If you see a dog that you think might not be suitable, move your puppy away. Yeah, absolutely, hand feeding does need to be done carefully, but it is probably one of the better risks that I will take. I will always hand feed my puppies, personally. Okay, so your basic training. You are the best thing in the environment, period. Regardless of what is going on in the world, you will always be the best thing in the environment. A lot of people will allow their puppies to go off and explore, and they will find things in the environment that they really love to do, such as picking on a stick or maybe rolling in fox poop. But when you call them back to you, they get clipped on a lead and the fun ends. Be the best thing in the dog's environment. Call your puppy back. Have a game of tug, have a game of ball chasing, have a big puppy party where they get a ton of treats, and then let them go again. Now I know that sounds oxymoronic to call them back and then let them go, but bear with me. By calling them back and letting them go, you are instilling that every time they come back to you is not always a time that the fun is going to end. It just means that they get more fun with you, and then they may potentially have to be able to go back into the environment and have more fun like they were doing. I love doing this with puppies because it teaches them that recall is not a situation in which the fun is going to end. The fun is just going to continue. So I will use tugging off toys, I will use treats, I will use balls on ropes to reward the dog from coming back. Now, moving on from that, once you reliably have your puppy coming to you in a home or in a garden environment, try it with a lead. So, recall your puppy, they come back, oh my god, this is a massive party, you are the best thing in the environment, clip the lead on temporarily, let them get used to being on the lead, and then unclip them and let them go again. That will help stop the assumption that coming back and being clipped on the lead means they're going to be on there forever. It means that, yeah, I'm there temporarily, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do what you say, or I'm going to walk with you for a bit, and then I may have the lead taken off and I may be able to go and have fun again. I find this the easiest way of getting a dog to recall and be happy when it sees the lead. So Varley will look back at me, he will see his lead, and he will come running back and he will be like, yeah, okay, you want to put me on the lead, this might stop the fun, this might not stop the fun, you know, I'm willing to take that chance. And it's also beneficial for teaching your dog to automatically recall when they see certain things. So Varley will automatically recall when he sees another dog, because he is trained that if he sees another dog, he gets to play with me. And that's so much better than playing with that other dog. So he recalls and he comes and he gets put on his lead and we walk past the other dog, we have a bit of fun, he gets taken off the lead again and he's allowed to run on. Nothing about being put on that lead is negative to him. Brianna, can you link that post about hangry dogs? I would love to read that. Luring and shaping contribute massively, as well as capturing. You may have solid training sessions for your puppy, but your puppy is constantly learning. So luring and shaping and capturing is probably the three biggest ways of teaching that you want to look at. So luring your puppy into a sit by putting a treat over its head, brilliant. Or shaping a down, brilliant. Try not to use physical manipulation or modelling when dealing with your puppy. So some trainers may advise, put your hand on your butt, push your dog down. Dogs are living, breathing creatures. If someone came and instead of explaining to you in a positive way what they'd like you to do, they physically picked you up and moved you around, you wouldn't be very happy. So I don't blame dogs for being head shy when they're used to having their collars grabbed, or for being a bit butt shy when they're used to people coming along and just shoving them down. Responding to pressure is one thing, but forcing your dog to physically obey by using hand pressure, not so much. That is why I love luring, shaping and capturing so well. Exactly, you would bite and so would I. None of my dogs are taught how to stay. None of the puppies that come through my puppy program are taught to stay by standing on the lead or by pushing them down by the shoulders. They are all lured and shaped, because that is the best and most rewarding thing for that dog. And as I said before, keep the scales balanced equally and do not let yourself get frustrated. Slow is fast when it comes to dog training. You can work on a sit for 3 weeks and end up with the best sit that will stay for relatively life than if you did 2 days on it and then suddenly one day your dog forgot how to sit. Slow is fast. There is no immediate workaround for dog training. These animals are living, breathing things that have co-evolved with us for hundreds of years, thousands of years. If we haven't found a fast method in order to teach them now, we probably never will. Now moving on to behaviours. If you have to lure, the behaviour isn't concrete. I have been there in several instances where someone has said, oh, my puppy can sit, in which they then say, sit to the dog, and the dog does not sit. Or they say, sit to the dog, and they then use a treat in order to lure the butt to sit on the floor. That behaviour isn't concrete, and your dog cannot perform that behaviour. A behaviour that is concrete is when you turn to your puppy and you say, sit, and your puppy says sit, and then they get rewarded. Now, do not rush to this point. There is absolutely no point in rushing to try and concrete a behaviour. Like I said, slow is fast in dog training. The dreaded toilet training. Oh dear. Patience is vital with puppies. Puppies are babies. You have a newborn baby come home, you don't expect them to hold their bladder, so don't expect your puppy to hold their bladder. Some breeders may preemptively start puppy training, toilet training, some may not. This is all down to you, not to the puppy. Pick one spot in the garden and stick to it, or you may end up with something like I do, where you have to go and play spot the poop, which can be fun, but also annoying. Pick one spot in the garden and stick to it. Take your puppy there, spend as long as you need, reward for anything they do. Even a tiny nugget, they get rewarded. Don't let them play when they're out there. Take them out, let them do their thing. If you find they're not doing their thing, have a bit of a walk around with them. Take them back to their spot. If they don't do anything, that's absolutely fine. Wait for half an hour or however long you'd like to wait out, and then take your puppy back inside. Do not give them freedom. Put them in their X pen or in their crate and watch them closely. Some puppies seem to have this thing where they will wait until they're put back and then they will do their business. So take them back inside, put them in their X pen, do not give them freedom of the house. That's when you get puppies that will sneak away and start peeing when they're not supposed to. After 5 minutes, take your puppy back out. If your puppy still does nothing, put them back again and leave them for half an hour to an hour. I prefer to get my puppies in the spring.
Alright, honey.
I don't know about
that
you,
email that
I
just
do
sent
not like
Stuart
potty training
Bradley.
in the winter
What's the address?
because of the cold and the damp and the dark. At least if I get a spring or summer puppy, I have plenty of time to stand there and go, oh, do you know what, it's quite warm, I'm going to help and wait for you to do your thing. That's a personal preference. Add a cue for the behaviour. Now, a lot of people think that this is just something related to working dogs or assistance dogs, but it can make things incredibly easy. Add a cue for each behaviour. If you get a nugget, that's it, give it a cue. When you have to take your dog out, like to a vet, and you want to make sure that they have gone to the toilet before you go in, a cue is one of the best things you can have.
Barriers. Right, okay.
I
if you can get
apologise.
me the address, we can't do anything without it.
Okay. Tether your puppy to you.
We do, but it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't always
Yes,
have
exactly. And
the
there is a
customer's name.
basis on that. So whenever your puppy
So,
wakes up,
Yeah,
take them
Julie's
out.
just sent her an email, do you have
if
my
your
phone
puppy
number
has
or
just
address?
finished eating, take them out.
Okay, alright then.
I
Alright then.
apologise.
Okay, bye.
If your puppy has just finished playing, then take them out. Every time they finish doing something, take them out. Particularly sleeping. Tether your puppy to you when they're not in their X pen to take them outside for every half an hour to avoid accidents. Some puppies may be able to hold for an hour, some puppies may be able to hold for an hour and a half. Some puppies can't. Tether your puppy to you and take them outside every half an hour. Just give them that chance. It's better to go outside too often than to not go outside often enough and have a dog that then learns that it's okay to toilet in the house.
Dunno. What's the phone
Still
number?
no guy.
Dunno.
Could be anybody could look.
What's the phone?
Mr. Badley from the
Can't
moon.
do
Okay,
anything without
the
the
place game. The place game. I absolutely love the place game. The place game gives your puppy a point of reference.
Have you got the telephone?
So what you want to do is you want to get a mat or a towel or something that does not slip on your floor. It can be used to prevent door rushing, teach settling and calmness, and a lot more, but that's all I'm going to go into detail for the now. You can take your placemat with you to help your puppy feel safe in new environments, so you can take them out on holiday if you go to dog friendly. You can take them to dog friendly restaurants, and then your puppy knows that they have that placemat there. I will always teach every single dog that comes through my puppy program a place. It is so incredibly useful. And when the puppy is older, it allows them to spend time in a calm, productive way around the family. So you have a mat on the floor, the puppy is lying on the floor, you're all watching TV, you don't have a puppy springing around everywhere. Because your puppy has been taught to be calm within the house. I have had several Labradors come through my door who were not given a place or a point of reference to settle. And they are bouncing off the walls. Varley, from a very young age, was taught a place and was taught to settle and will now sleep throughout the entire day. Because he's used to assuming the house to be a nice, calm place. Introductions to water. I've seen this time and time and time again, particularly with retrievers and your water breeds. Do not, for the love of God, do not just throw your puppy into the water. That is the best way of making them scared. Would you like it if someone picked you up when you didn't know if you could swim and chucked you in a pool? I don't think so. I wouldn't. The best thing you can do is find some water in warm weather that you can go into. You might need waders, you might choose to go in on your, without them, whatever. It's completely up to you. Find some water that you can go in and encourage your puppy. Don't force your puppy, but encourage your puppy to come to you. Now, you can stand 1 foot in, 2 foot in. Do not stand past the point where your puppy would have to take their feet off the floor. Another good way of traumatizing your puppy is asking too much too quickly. So make your way out, encourage your puppy to you. If you have dogs that are quite fond of water, like say you had a dog before your puppy that absolutely loves to swim, get them involved. Dogs will look at other dogs and they will go, actually, that looks like a good idea. So you go in, other dogs go in, make sure, exactly, paddling pools. But like I said, wait for warmer weather. Do not try and teach your puppy to swim during the winter when it's all frozen over and vile. But use other dogs and yourself as encouragement. And try to avoid water with movement. You don't want to start teaching your puppy to swim in rivers that have momentum and have an undercurrent, because that may scare them. You can use paddling pools for children. You can use concrete mixers. We have a black plastic concrete mixer in the garden that Varley was taught to swim in. You have specific pools, particularly on working security dog sites, that may allow you to go in there and swim with your puppy. That's where Varley was taught how to swim. But as always, encourage your puppy, do not force them. They will go in eventually under their own steam. And remember, not every dog has to be an avid swimmer. Introduction to other dogs. A lot of people think that socialisation with other dogs means you just let your puppy go and run off to whatever, like every single dog that they meet. That's not how this works. Pay attention to your puppy's behaviour just as much as you pay attention. Oh bless. If digging up the beach is what she wants to do, that's absolutely fine. She doesn't have to love the water. You've got one that does at least, Linda. But no, pay attention to your puppy's behaviour. Do not allow them to run up to a dog, even if the owner says it's friendly. I have had situations prior in the past where I've had, oh no, my dog is friendly, only for Varley to then get chased and attacked in parks, particularly from sight hounds when he was younger. Watch other dogs at a distance. A lot of people will only pay attention to dogs when they get within their immediate space. A lot of the behaviour can often be picked on by watching them at a distance. Watch how much they're staring, watch how much they're posturing, watch how much they pay attention to that puppy and how are they looking at that puppy. Are they interested or are they focused? Try and stick to dogs that you know. You want dogs that are nice and polite and social. You don't want dogs that overcorrect, but you don't want dogs that will tolerate everything and allow a bolshy puppy to do things that would otherwise hurt another dog. Prevent on-lead meetings. Hi Anita, hope you're feeling okay. Prevent on-lead meetings. Don't allow your puppy to meet a dog head-on. Lead meetings are a funny one, as they can cause some otherwise friendly dogs to become reactive. They may end up with the leads being tangled, which could frighten your puppy. You know, there's a lot of different reasons why preventing on-lead meetings is probably best for your dog. But as I said previously, if you don't want your adult dog to do it, don't allow your puppy to do it. So if you let your 2 kilo puppy drag you over to another dog, that's all well and good, but think about what happens when you've got a 30 kilo dog dragging you over to another dog. Don't assume a strange dog is friendly. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Do not assume that dogs are friendly. And keep your cool. If you panic when you see another dog, your puppy will pick that up. If you are nervous around another dog, your dog will pick that up. Keep your cool.
Constant problems.
And try and remain as relaxed as you can. Your puppy will feed off you. Your emotional state will add on to how they feel. If they feel nervous and they look at you and you're nervous, they're going to think, oh, there is a problem. If your puppy is nervous and they look at you and you have got an open expression, your body language is calm, they're going to say, oh, maybe there's not much of a reason to panic. Do this with new experiences as well. If a bag startles your puppy in a bush, open body language, open expression, invite them over to go and say hello. Use a specific toy to reward attention to you. I will use, for example, tugging up toys. I will only allow Varley to play with a specific toy in specific situations. For example, like I said before, he is trained to come back to me when he sees another dog to walk by them on lead. He was trained to do this by using the tugging off toys. He will only get a specific ball and bungee toy, and he loves it. What do you suggest for meeting street dogs where there's no control of the unknown dog? Okay, so the best thing you can do in that situation is watch that dog. What is that dog doing? Is that dog showing a stalking behaviour? Is that dog showing what looks to be a friendly behaviour? I would say looks, because even aggressive dogs can appear friendly at first. The best thing you can do is move yourself and your puppy away as soon as you can. Keep your attention on that dog, but try not to look as if you're worried. Try and make sure that everything is okay. Try and distract your puppy. Be like, hey, do you know what is that over there? Let's go and have a look at that. If you find that the dog is following you, do not be afraid to turn to that dog and say very loudly and very calmly, no. I do not advise manhandling puppies, but if you are in a situation where you feel that your puppy is in danger, pick your puppy up and hold them up as high as you can. With Varley, I never had to do that, but that doesn't mean to say that you may never not have to do it as well. So if you are in an area where you do have street dogs, check your laws and see what you may be able to carry for safety. I know some people will carry riding crops. I did once have to carry a riding crop because of a border collie that was allowed to leave a house. Fortunately, we never had to use it, but at the same time, it was something that I considered necessary for the safety of my dog. Does that kind of answer your question? Okay, so we're talking about not one, but several street dogs. In that situation, yes, absolutely. It would be within your best interest to get your puppy or your dog away as soon as you possibly can. So move with purpose, but don't move out of fear. Keep your eye on those dogs. I would absolutely talk to your dog warden or your animal control about what you can do within the laws to protect yourself and your dog. For example, is a spray legal in your area? Is a riding crop legal in your area? Look for stuff like that. I will never say turn around and beat the dog that's coming at you. That is often an excessive overforce that should only be used if your dog is under direct threat. But yeah, absolutely check with the laws of your area if you are allowed to carry a riding crop, if you are worried about your dog's safety. Do not allow your puppy off lead without a solid recall. Now, a lot of people will allow their puppies off lead straight away, which one, teaches the puppy that being away from you is a better idea. Oh, right, I see. I would definitely look into a riding crop, given where you are, and see how that works. Please keep me up to date with that. If I can help in any way, I will. But as I was saying, don't allow your puppy off lead without a solid recall. People will let their dogs off at an excessively young age, and remember that puppies below a certain age, usually about 5 or 6 months, will stick to you like glue. That's not because the puppy is trained, that is because the puppy is unsure of the environment that it's in. Once they hit around 6 months, that's when they'll go, actually, you know, there's nothing aggressive within the environment, I'm going to start going off to explore. That's when you start having problems with recall. That is when I start using the tugging off. I've already started at this point using the tugging off toys to reward attention. My puppies, until 8 months, do not go off the lead. They are on long lines, so they have some freedom, but I am always in control. The last thing you need, I had it happen once, the last thing you need is your puppy running up to an aggressive dog. Now, what changed my mind about long lines was the fact that I allowed Varley off, who then proceeded to, he was around 6.5 months to 7 months old. He then proceeded to run up to a lady who had 2 on-lead dogs. At the time, I did not know they were aggressive. But she shouted no, her dog lunged, and she kicked Varley in the chest. Now, bear in mind that I was less than 10 feet away at this point, so it wasn't as if he ran across an entire field. However, that was still my fault. I failed my dog. And she responded in the one way that she thought she could in order to protect not only her dogs, but my dog as well. So she did what she felt she had to do, and she kicked him in the chest. Varley did not have a solid recall around other dogs. That was my fault. I took what was a balanced scale and I let it drop to one side. So after that we went back to a long line, and he was not off again for another 4 or 5 months until he had a solid recall. Now he will recall from anything. He will recall from dogs, people, cats, rabbits, hares, deer. Except for if he's got his face in the grass and he's trying to lick up another dog's pee. But we will let him have that one vice, yeah? Let's just let him have that one thing. Introductions to people. Again, a lot of people think that socialisation with people is allowing them to come up, to cuddle, to hold, to pick up, to make a massive fuss, to crowd around. No. Socialisation is the essence of teaching your puppy that humans aren't actually a threat. Now, imagine if you were very small, a child, you were in a new situation and a stranger came and picked you up with your parents there. For me, as a child, that would have terrified me to death. Someone coming up and picking me up that I didn't know would have scared me. Now, I keep drawing basic assumptions between humans and dogs. Let me say it right now. Dogs are not human. Do not anthropomorphise your dog. However, put yourself in their mental situation. You don't know what's going on, you're quite young, you're not as confident as you could be, and you suddenly get picked up. And you get picked up time and time and time again. You learn that your body is not your own. So particularly with small dogs, they may become aggressive when they're picked up. Treat them like a large dog. Be aware of your pup's body language. I don't know if you can hear what's going on in the other room. You may not. That's fine. They're just discussing popcorn at the minute. Be aware of your pup's body language. If you have a big, great, hulking man walk up to your puppy, he could be the sweetest person in the world. but his manner of holding himself may be threatening to your puppy. Socialise your puppy with as many different kind of peoples as you can. As many different skin colours, as many different genders, as many different just ages, as many different people as you can. But don't allow them to crowd. Don't allow them to scoop your puppy up. Do not allow them to take away the ability to move back to you, who is a safe space. I've said it before and I will say it again. Start as you mean to go on. If you don't want your older dog jumping up people or being excessively excited, start as a puppy. Don't allow any interaction until your puppy is calm and or sitting down. Don't allow interaction if your puppy is jumping up or trying to mouth on other people. I've had situations before where puppies will attempt to jump up and they have very sharp teeth and they will start trying to mouth the other person's hand thinking that they have a treat. So, in your best interest, start as you mean to go on. Have your puppy in a nice, calm sit before you allow any kind of interaction. Do not allow the person to immediately go for their head. Ask them to throw a treat or hold their hand out. Dogs can find it quite threatening when you go to pet them on the head if you don't know them. Watching specific dog biting videos where people get bit, they oftentimes get bit because they have immediately gone to fuss the dog's head. Don't put your puppy in that situation where they feel like something around their head threatens them. If your puppy decides that they don't want to be interested in people and they just want to reward you, they just want to pay attention to you, that's absolutely brilliant. Dogs do not have to love every single person they come across. Varley doesn't love every single person he comes across, and he's a Labrador. Varley will look at someone and straight up ignore them because he has been trained that actually I am the best thing in the environment. So use a special toy to reward attention to you. Same with the Tug Enough for the introduction to dogs. Now you may choose to use the same toy, you may choose to use a different toy. I have so many Tug Enough toys now I forgot what I use for which. But reward your dog if they decide that you are the best thing in the environment and not the person currently trying to get their attention. It will help them learn to check in with you. Redirect your puppy if they jump up. Some people will correct their dog and be like, well no, you can't jump up, but they then won't say, but I want you to do this instead. Your puppy jumps up and you don't want them, say, that's not the behaviour that I want, I'm going to ask you to sit instead. So sit. And then you go back to the allowing interaction only when your puppy is calm. Introduction to animals, probably one of the things that I find most overlooked. Cats, dogs, rabbits, trees, squirrels, pigeons, rats. I said rats, didn't I? Teach your puppy that there is nothing special about looking at them. So you walk up to a field of sheep, you look at them, your puppy looks at them, you go, yeah, they're just sheep, and then you walk away. Don't walk up to a fence line and go, oh my god, look at the sheep, and really start talking to your dog in a hyperactive, excitable voice. Because they will look at those sheep and they will be like, oh my god, that's exciting, they're special. Walk up to the sheep, say, hello sheep, look at your puppy. If your puppy looks at you, reward your puppy for looking at you and walk away. Varley is 100% livestock broken because I never ever ever once bigged up any kind of livestock to him. When he was a puppy, we used to walk up to the fields, we used to go, hello Mr. Cow, and we used to walk away. And then we used to go and have fun. You know, we used to go and play tug. Taking your dog to pets at home. Making them look at the rabbits and talking to them in an excited way, and then wondering why your dog is overly attentive to rabbits. Well, you've excited them. You've equated a rabbit with excitement. You've equated rabbits or other animals with an over-aroused sense of energy. No wonder that they're going to pay more attention to an animal. If you take a puppy into your home and you have, for example, a cat or a rabbit, give them a place to go away from your puppy. Give them a place to go that is well away from the situation. So for cats, you can use stair gates, cat trees. For rabbits, again, you can use stair gates. I absolutely love stair gates for keeping puppies in specific areas. When they're too big to go into an X-pen, but they're not quite big enough to get the reign of the house, stair gates are golden. Use a special toy. Now you will notice on every single one of these introduction to slides I have used a special toy reward. With animals, absolutely use a different one to your dog and to your people. If your puppy looks at your cat and you call their name and they look away, oh my god, it is time to throw a massive party. Do not allow them to bark or chase. If you are using the tether method, when not in the X-pen, that should be rather easy because your dog cannot leave your immediate area. Chasing is a self-rewarding behaviour, which means that when they chase, that's it, they're fundamentally completing something in their instinct that they want to do. Dogs are bred to hunt and chase. So don't give them the option. Prevention is a lot better than curing. Which goes exactly to redirect your puppy if they appear over threshold. Exactly what you need to do. Are there any questions about introduction to animals, or are there any other questions so far that I may not have covered? Because I don't want people to be sat there thinking that they can't answer questions. Please ask questions. If you have any questions at all, please let me know and I will do my best to answer. Introduction to the environment. A lot of us tend to forget that the environment is new to our puppy too. Our home is new to our puppy. Our home can be scary to our puppy. You know, unloading the dishwasher, if they've never heard a dishwasher before, can be scary to your puppy. Noise desensitization is vital. Any good breeder will start off on noise desensitization before your puppy comes home. For example, vacuums or dishwashers or toilets or anything like that. Some go as far as drills. You know, they will allow their puppy to play. They will allow their puppies to play while they're working with construction equipment to teach them that there is nothing to fear from it. Noise desensitization is the one thing that I say you start from day one. Farley came home at 8 weeks old, and from 8 weeks old, when we went to sleep of an evening, we were listening to thunderstorms, we were listening to airports, we were listening to roads, we were listening to crowds of people at a very, very low volume while we slept. I have yet to meet a sound that Varley shows aversion to from using this method. He has heard nearly everything. If you have a dog, a puppy, or a dog that is afraid of fireworks, noise desensitization is a very good way of starting. So start the track on a very low while your dog is playing or eating, and then over a series of weeks, do not rush noise desensitization. Over a period of weeks, slowly raise the volume until it is as lifelike as you can get it. You're desensitizing in a safe environment. Always watch your puppy's body language. Fearful puppies will shut down. Once a puppy goes over threshold, you are more likely to cause damage than you are to cause any kind of positive effect. If your puppy appears fearful, that volume is too low, or the situation they're in is too much for them, you take them away back to something that they know, like their car or their X-Pen. You put them in there and you let them de-stress. I use sounds on my phone, I use them on Spotify, and I use them on YouTube. I do actually have an entire album on Spotify devoted to noise desensitization, which I can drop in the chat if that is something that people would be interested in. Different flooring can be scary, so take things slow. You may look and go, it's just a carpet, but your puppy's never been on a carpet. You know, it feels different under their paws. They might find it scary. Or walking on glass floors. Some dogs find it difficult and incredibly scary to walk on glass floors because they don't understand that there is something there. Or walking with stairs where you can actually see through the steps. Some dogs may not find them. Introduce your dog to as many different floors, stairs, noises, situations as you possibly can. Always reward calm behaviour. If your puppy seems to be getting too excitable or too panicky, move them away. You want them to be nice and calm and absorbing like a sponge. Bear in mind you cannot reinforce fear, but puppies can generalise an area with a feeling. So, for example, if they go to the vet and all they get when they go there is pain, for example, like vaccinations or microchips, if you have a dog that doesn't have a particularly high pain threshold, they may learn to associate the vet's building with anxiety or fear, and that's when you get dogs that are fearful of entering veterinary spaces. Varley was taken into the vets several times as a puppy. He went in, he got treats in the waiting room, he got put on the scales, and then he left again. Varley will actively try and take me into the vets when we walk past it. Same as the pub, but we don't talk about that. I'm just going to keep an eye on the time. I am over by quite significant amounts, so I don't blame people if they want to leave. I've got a fair bit to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the dreaded puppy biting, and then I will find another slot and we will finish up. Puppy biting. Puppies don't have hands, they use their mouths. And some breeds are more prone to mouthing than others. Provide different textures, firmness and temperatures. I love nyla bones. I love rags that have been in the freezer. I love anything that a dog can chew that is not a TV cord. You can buy the best toy in the world. You can go to Pets at Home and you can buy the most amazing £30 toy in the world, but nothing will be better to a puppy than a cardboard box. Avoid antlers. They will break teeth. And nyla bone, you will come to know, are the dog version of Lego. However, we are not finished with the presentation, but unfortunately I am over time, so I will let you go for now. This will be available to rewatch, and I will book in again at a later date to work through what is left of the presentation. But I am so happy that you have joined me today, and I love how many of you have been asking questions. This presentation will be available on our website. We will also have an infographic up there of raising puppies. I will also link the Spotify list to the noise desensitization. You can find our affiliates on there that will be able to provide you with everything that you need. We have Parapets, Victoria Fox Brown, K9 Elite Outlet, and Tugging Off. So 2 treat companies, 1 toy company, and 1 collar company. You can't really go wrong with that, especially when you get money off. I mean, come on. So I will see you soon. I'm sorry we couldn't get through it all this time round, but this is only my second talk. This is something that I will get used to doing. But thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait to see you all again. And if you have any questions, feel free to message Westcreek Labradors Dog Training, and I will get to you as soon as I can. Goodbye, everyone. I love you all to death. It has been lovely talking to you, and I will see you soon.